Morning, everybody. Welcome to Cardano and Q&A. So, had you got a question in particular, Paul, you thought of already, or are you just interested?
I have Project Catalyst. I believe you had to re-register yourself with Project Catalyst, but I had a bit of a curly one, whereas it wouldn't let me register, but my old existing address, which I used for Fund 9, would work, and obviously I have reviewed both your projects.
I did see your comment. Thank you very much. But your re-registration didn't work. Because
no, it didn't. No, it didn't work at all. It just basically was just hanging, and then I went back to my old login address, which it accepted straight away.
Oh, was that? So this is this scanning the QR code?
No, it said I had to create a new address, which I did with a obviously appropriate email, and it didn't go anywhere. So I went back in using my Fund 9 email address and password. And
is this just logging into the idea scale?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. No. So that's not the re-registration that I was on about. There's the actual voting registration, which is a bit separate. So I guess it wouldn't let you create a new account on idea scale. I actually
went into I linked or copied the link that you kindly provided last week, went into register, and nothing happened. Just wouldn't accept it. Wouldn't take me on to the next stage. Once I'd signed up, registered, it went no further.
Oh. So which link was that I gave you? Just trying to remember. So was it off this one? Regards.
No, not that one. No, it was. I went to like a brand new page.
Or this one.
I think it was that one.
Okay. And you grabbed the latest app.
Yep.
And then, so was it with the registration via the phone via the mobile app that wouldn't work?
No, it was on my computer. That's where I registered.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that we need to get sorted, because I know that there are a few people having issues with various wallets trying to get them to register. We've got until the 18th, so it's not critical yet, but the smoother the process is, the better, obviously. So I haven't actually tried registering yet.
I clicked on that link down in the bottom right hand corner where it says get involved. That one down there. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And then
instead of get involved again, I think halfway up the page. That's it. And that's where I went.
Yeah, so this is idea scale, which again is just about the commenting, the proposal valuation side of things, but not actually the registration for voting. So because you have the Catalyst idea scale platform, which is where all the proposals get listed, and it's a front end onto the actual proposals as they're put up for a vote. But you've obviously got the Cardano mainnet, which has got everybody's ADA on, and the snapshot is taken of the Cardano mainnet, so that everybody who is registered with so there's a voting app as well, which is a third part of it as well, which is the on your mobile phone, and that is where actually you issue your votes. And so the crucial part to get completed is the mobile phone and the Cardano mainnet side of things, because that's actually your voting power is tied up in the amount of ADA you're holding, and the amount of ADA you're holding is only known by the Cardano mainnet. So that snapshot on the 18th is going to find out everybody who is looking to vote, take a snapshot of exactly how much ADA they're holding at the time. And then that gets turned into their voting power, which is then translated into the back end, the Catalyst Jormungandr chain, which is then used to tie in with the idea scale data to allow you, when you choose a project to vote on in the mobile app, it will use your voting power from that snapshot. So it is a convoluted process and a bit clunky, which is why it's all being rewritten. So the bulk of the technology rewrite isn't happening in this fund, it's actually being run in the next fund. So we are running on some old tech still, unfortunately. So if we can get that snapshot part right, I think that'll be really important for all of us, because that's an easy 80 to win or something like that. I think it was last time.
The only thing that you made mention there, which obviously I don't do, Jonathan, is use my wallet on my phone. It's obviously on a separate laptop, so I'll never be able to register it via my mobile phone.
Well, the actual snap, or the process for taking your vote is done on the phone. You've got the Catalyst voting app on your phone, because that's where you actually issue your votes for the proposals in the end. And in there, you then have the phone camera takes a picture of the QR code for your wallet registration. So let me see if I can get it up. I haven't actually done this myself yet, and I actually have got a more complicated procedure, even more so this time than previously, because they've now added in the ability. Obviously, the underlying text was always evolving, and they now have the ability to register multiple wallets into a single voter. So that means that instead of, like last time, I had, was it 4 phones going? I had to find the projects I was voting for, each of these different phones, one at a time. I actually had 2 phones going, but I had to unregister and re-register each phone twice. Find the apps I wanted to vote for, project I wanted to vote for, vote on them 4 times. Absolute nightmare. So that's why, I started moving all my ADA into a single wallet, or as much of it into a single wallet as possible to cast my votes. This time, obviously, I've got the stake pool holdings, which are on my cold storage. So that's a bit like you and your laptop. It's a bit more hard to get access to. Don't interact with dApps directly on that at all. And then I've got my hot wallets, which have also got a decent amount of voting power in them. So I want to aggregate all those together, and they now let you do that through a command line interface. You can't do it through any of the useful ways yet to most people, but you can do it on the command line. So I need to run through that process. But while we're here, let me just see if I can run through the process for registering to vote. So in your wallet, you've got the voting tab. Am I sharing it correctly?
Yeah.
Good, thanks. And like hide that show as well. So in here, it gives you the dates and a bit of lowdown on what's happening when. It's also got a synopsis of the challenge settings this time, which is really good, and the size of the funds. So Eternal Wallet guys are just great. I'm going to big them up, because I love the work they do. I love the app they've built. They work really hard. They're pulling in all the features as they're developing, and everything's going at such a pace, and they're keeping on top of things really, really well. So kudos to them. So this then, Paul, is where you would take your the voting app that you've installed on your phone. It does Apple and Android, and the app is required for this fund. I think they're talking about removing that requirement for next fund. So then you'd be able to actually do your voting from the desktop app as well. But that desktop app hasn't been released yet. I think it's going to be the Catalyst Voting Center. So in the meantime, you've still got the same voting app on your phone. So everybody needs to go to their Apple Store or their Android store, Play Store, and grab the apps. So in fact, you can do that direct from these QR codes. And then once you've done that, you'll come back into your wallet to scan another QR code, which I imagine is on the next step. Yeah, so here you create your voting pin. Once you've done that, then you would run the registration process, and it'll probably ask me to sign here, and I don't want to sign yet. So yeah, so this is where you then need to sign to allow your wallet to be snapshot or to register for the snapshot. And the screen after that will show you the actual voting QR code. And then in your voting app on the phone, which you've got from the previous link, that will have activate camera button, switch camera on your phone, and then scan the QR code on the screen. So that's where you will be able to do it from Eternal on your laptop, Paul, because it will be a different device. And it's that registration part that you need to get done before the 18th, because that will then label that wallet to participate in the voting.
It's like more than 500 ADA. We go through that process every time for each of the wallets.
Sorry, you might cut out at the beginning of that again.
So if we've got, for argument's sake, 3 wallets that have got more than 500 ADA in each 3, then we go through that process for each one.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the pain at the moment. If you want to gather all your voting power together into one wallet to really simplify your voting process, then you can move your ADA from 2 of the wallets into that third one, use that to register for vote power, and then move your ADA back after the 18th. So the snapshot happens at a fixed point in time, which will be at 10 p.m. UK time. So that'll be 9 p.m. UTC on the 18th. So a couple of hours before that, or a day before that, you can move all your ADA into a single wallet. And then as soon as that hour has passed on the 18th, you can move your ADA back again. And all that will be done within one of the epochs, the Cardano epochs, which means that your snapshot will happen. And if you've got staking going on with those other 2 wallets, you won't lose any staking power as long as you move it back again within the epoch window. So that 5-day period, you can move your ADA around within that. But then when the snapshot comes for staking rewards, that happens at the end of the epoch, or it might even be at the beginning of the next one. I'm not entirely sure on that. But anyway, at the crossover has a snapshot taken of how much ADA is in each wallet, and that then determines your rewards, your staking rewards. But if you're moving your ADA between that to take part in Catalyst voting, that's fine. That doesn't alter the staking rewards result. It just impacts the actual voting power snapshot, which will be on the 18th at 9 UTC. So the 500 ADA requirement in each wallet that registers to vote, is easier to reach if you've got multiple wallets. So you can just pull your power together, put it into one, and yeah, bit to get your head around actually still, but it will be getting easier from the next one. So yeah, everybody grab the voting app. In fact, I'll do that now because it's probably got an updated version. So
Jonathan, sorry, can you also do this using Euroi wallet as well? Can you register to vote?
Yes, you can.
And when you say that you need to, if you've got multiple wallets, like for example on Euroi, I'm staking to kind of Fluid Pool, Blue Cheese Steakhouse. Does that mean I have to register for each of those? sub wallets, if you like, or
So that's what I was meaning by, if you want to avoid registering each of those wallets, then you can move the ADA temporarily from all the wallets into a single one.
yeah,
Use that single wallet to register to vote. And then when it comes to actually carrying out your vote, you only have to do it with that one, that one app.
okay,
Because a snapshot gets taken of all the ADA that's in that wallet, and that becomes your voting power that you'll use later when the actual vote starts.
Right, yeah.
So that's probably the way I'd still recommend doing it. Next time round, it's going to be much better in that you'll be able to say, I want to take this wallet, this wallet, and combine that into my snapshot. But we can't do that at the moment through any of the normal wallets. You can do it through the command line, but that's going to be beyond the abilities of most people. I have got some stateful operator tools that'll help me with that task, but I'm even a bit daunted by it, so I haven't gone down that. I haven't actually done it yet. So actually, yeah, let me grab.
Right, thanks.
So this is Yoroi, which is what Archie was just asking about, and it's the first light wallet on Cardano. It's built by Emergo, who are one of the founding entities of the Cardano Trinity, IOG, IOHK, Input Output Hong Kong, Input Output Global. And then you've got Cardano Foundation, which is the non-profit foundation that manages the treasury that Cardano is building. And Emergo is the third arm of that, based out of Asia, Japan. And they have the responsibility for growing the commercial markets side of Cardano. You've got IOG, the builders, Cardano Foundation managing the treasury, and Emergo managing the commercial partnerships. IO do a lot of that as well, to be honest, but Emergo are slower burn, but coming through. So Yoroi's had a whole load of development recently, which has been much better. So let me grab Yoroi. Actually, I'm in Brave, so the Chrome store is what I want. And again, bit of due diligence when you're in the Chrome store installing wallets. Always check for the domain that's attached to the app, and check for the blue tick mark. So that means that Google employees have looked at it to see if they believe it's correct, and then it's worth following that link back through to the website. This is yoroi-wallet.com. So that's actually different from what it said on the Play Store, so it's worth then checking both domains. And yeah, yoroi-wallet.com without the hyphen actually redirects over to the one with the hyphen. So they're both resulting in the same place, and this website is one that I recognize and know from previously, and it's the one I followed the link through to download from. So I followed that loop, going from the website to the web store, back to the website, using the links, and that's a good process to follow. So this is now installed on Brave. I can pin it to my toolbar, and then if you're setting up wallet for the first time, you can go through and complete the shenanigans. So what I'll do is finish doing this off the call, get this registered and ready with a wallet for next time, so that we actually have an example wallet, Yoroi wallet to register to vote with. Actually, it's got a browser integration now. Interesting to see how that plays out. Let's open up the Play Store now down here. I'm working in Windows again for the first time in years, and it's throwing me. So if I'm muttering to myself, that's why. So yeah, again, within Yoroi, you can manage. So again, if you look at the browser bar now, you know that you're on the browser extension, not on the website, because it's got Chrome-extension in the address bar, //. So look out for that. Then you're interacting with the extension. which has got local storage just on your computer, rather than a website which has got web storage in somebody else's computer. So that's the first part to make sure you've got right with any light wallet. Yeah, so what I'll be doing is restoring a Cardano wallet. Might even be an old 15-word one, but yeah, I'll do that off this call. And then within Yoroi, there'll be a voting tab as well somewhere, Archie, that I can't think of where it is at the moment, but we can look at that next week if you haven't managed to do it yourself before then.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay. So the other link we were following was in Eternal Wallet. Again, got the Chrome extension in the address bar, it's worth looking at. And you've got these QR codes. So you can take your phone, put it into the QR code scanning mode of the camera app. So on mine, it's just a camera app. And then there's a little Google button for doing QR code scanning. I'll go to the Play Store, scan the QR, follow it through on my phone. And that'll take us to the voting app on the phone. So you still need to do this portion of it, Paul, I think, for this fund in particular. And like in previous couple of funds, we haven't had to come back and do this step because your registration from that fund 6 even, or 5, I think it might have been, was valid for the last few funds. That registration will actually work for voting in this fund 9, sorry, fund 10. But the key thing to know is that if you use your old registration to vote, you won't earn any voting rewards because that mechanism has been upgraded. So to make sure that you are participating with a new registration and eligible for rewards from the new mechanism, which will be used to pay out, you have to re-register with the voting app again. So get the voting app on your phone. You will have a button on it that says, obviously I need to find a better way of sharing my phone screen, but you'll get a button on it that says Connect Wallet. And then you can use actually the Yoroi mobile app, which is an option I wasn't aware of, which is that bottom button, or you can use a QR code to scan. And so the other wallets will all have QR code option. Use the first option. I'm going to use the first option for Eternal Wallet, and I'm ready to scan. And then you'll get the scanning window, which will look like that. Nice picture of my drums in there. And then hold that to the app, the QR code on the next couple of screens in so after you've registered, you've put in your spending passphrase for this particular wallet. Actually, I might just do that here. It's only got 22 ADA in. So let me grab the little hot wallet spending passphrase. I can put that in. It's just going to be so this signing this transaction will be sending 0.18 out of the wallet. That will be going to the transaction fee. So that actually ends up back in the treasury, Cardano Foundation treasury. Cardano Foundation managed treasury. It's not their treasury, it's ours. And this is it's got the Catalyst tab on it to tell you it's a Catalyst registration. it's got a stake address associated with it. So this is the staking address associated with this particular wallet, my staked ADA wallet, and some other metadata in here, which I've never looked at before, but obviously it's got some addresses for things which I don't understand, unfortunately. That's made me curious. And then you've got your standard UTXOs input and output. So attached to that UTXO in my wallet, I've actually got some LenFi tokens, and those LenFi tokens will be coming back to me, and I'll be paying out 0.18, and I'm getting back 8 ADA in change back into this address here. So I can now sign that. Put my pending passphrase in. Oh, wrong passphrase. Copy the wrong one. I think that should be correct. Oh, actually, it wanted to give me a message saying it needed to restart, so maybe that's the issue. Not liking that. The joys of Windows updates. This is why I use Linux. I just ran away from Windows because I was so fed up with the convoluted update process. Time. No, it doesn't like it. Okay, well, I'll debug that off the call as well. But this is where you'd sign your registration, and then the next screen up will show you a QR code, which you can use your voting app QR scanner to then scan. And you'll have a new registration, which you can then take forward, voting in confidence that you're going to be actually rewarded for it. So that wasn't the slickest or the smoothest, but we got there. We didn't get there in the end. Cool. Any questions in and around that I can actually answer at the moment without going offline for a bit?
Jonathan, I've just downloaded the Catalyst voting app on my mobile.
Great.
Just as we speak now.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll just follow the steps to get in.
Yeah, that's the best way. The app itself is being worked on again and again, and it's getting much better. So the instructions in it are looking pretty good this time. And just follow those through. Connect your wallet. That'll help you get registered to vote. And then once you're in, you'll be able to see the listing of all the proposals. And when voting starts, you'll actually be able to start choosing those proposals that you want to vote for. And I think it will collect them all into a voting list, and then you'll do a final submit your votes on chain at the end of the voting process, within that voting window. And that's all. All you need to do from that point on is just choose your projects, which is which is another big task in and of itself, because there's a lot to look at and read and consider. But yeah, that will get you through and done. And once you're ready to vote,
so the process of reviewing projects is basically simplified through the through this wallet.
Sort of. It helps. I mean, the mobile is necessary at the moment because of the technical limitations of the side chain and that infrastructure that supports it. So you're actually not submitting your vote onto Cardano mainnet, you're submitting it onto the Catalyst side chain, which is an so back in the day we had Jormungandr as one of the iterations of Cardano mainnet, and then Cardano mainnet hard forked onto its next upgrade. Jormungandr went a different direction, and continued to deliver the underlying tech for the Catalyst voting system. So we're actually running two different chains for Cardano mainnet and the Catalyst voting app. This is necessary, or has some benefits, and lets us do things like ensure we've got properly anonymized voting, because as you know, with your stake key, if your stake key is shared publicly at any point, or able to be found and deciphered, like on pool.pm, then you can see the contents of any wallet on Cardano mainnet. And so that's very, very public record, which is it's a new radical way of doing things as of the Bitcoin era. Prior to that, money exchange was only known in the hands and realm of the banking elite, but now that is being actually drawn out of just those eyes into everybody's eyes, and it gives you that assurance that when you're issuing transactions, they are actually happening. Everybody can go and check them, but it also means everybody knows what everybody's spending their money on. So that's okay for transactions, just for buying stuff, although there are use cases where even you don't want to know what's being bought. So you're buying presents even, or having something valuable delivered to your front door via Amazon. You don't want everyone to know what you're buying when. So there are definitely use cases for private chains that the Midnight is the Cardano equivalent that's being worked on, but for 99% of transactions, it's fine for them just to be on chain and public. Voting, however, needs to be, to have a real vote, you kind of need to have anonymous voting. In my opinion, if everybody knows what you're voting for, then people are more prone to change maybe what they're thinking internally to align with what they're happy to say externally, which aren't always aligned. There are things that that differentiate us, our principles, our morals, a whole load of different things that differentiate us, and we are able to maintain those within ourselves, and walk that fine line of morality and opinion that doesn't always reflect what's happening in the public sphere, that is acceptable in the public sphere. And the older I get, the more I realize that those two can diverge. And there's loads of comedy sketches about the old granny on the sofa who's actually a closet racist and these sorts of things, which as a young person I found abhorrent and really rallied against. But the older I get, the more I realize that prejudice seeps into every area of a life, and the older a human exists, the more prejudiced they become in certain regards. So I am softening to all that, but particularly when it comes to voting, it's important to maintain actual independence of thought that can be expressed within a vote. Otherwise, we end up with this group think that everybody votes for the way that they think their neighbors should be voting, and what you're happy to talk about. Whereas actually, if we're really going to progress as a society, we need to be able to maintain our independent thoughts, express them in vote power without having to be held account to do it almost. Because it may be that there's, the prime example for me is the coercion, the mass public enforcement and almost public shaming of people who didn't take the vaccine, or who are threatened by the vaccine, and so that's bearing out, it seems, by the evidence that comes to light day after day, that the vaccine wasn't as safe, wasn't as effective, wasn't as important for everybody to be taken as it was portrayed in the media at the time. And so that public facade that was put up, that yes, the vaccine's a cure-all, it's going to save us all, is starting to crumble after the fact. But if we were all put to a vote back in the time, then it'd be like, yes, I agree, everyone should take the vaccine. It's for it's for the sake of our neighbors that we're all joining in on this. And that picture seems to be changing. So for that very reason, a public-private vote is important, in my mind. I don't quite know how I ended up down this path, but this is where I'm at with my thoughts about. So voting is one of the most crucial aspects of the blockchain, because it's really the first time that it empowers everybody in the world to participate in a voting platform that is not just a blanket binary vote, or you vote for one of the main political parties, and the one you get will change their mind 6 months into their term. This lets us to bring the voting, the ballots, the proposals down to a far more granular level, where everybody can participate, everybody can spin up a vote, and actually have public opinion expressed in more localized ways, which is what excites me, because the more granular we can make our voting, the more participatory we can get the voting into these proposals, the ideas, these ballots, then the better results we'll get, and hopefully the more progress towards good decision making, which is what voting is really all about. It's about being able to make good decisions together. Hopefully that will be the offshoot of this, and blockchain really empowers that on a whole new level of transparent yet anonymous, accurate and immutable, uncoercible, incorruptible voting. So the stake key, which we see publicly on Cardano mainnet, so we can go into Fluid Pool, for example, pick out a wallet, and it's got a stake key associated with it, which you can get in full from the address bar. And so we know that this wallet, which happens to be one of mine, is delegated to Fluid Pool, which in and of itself is a bit of a vote. You're taking your staking, you're choosing a stake pool to stake with, and by that you're showing a support for that stake pool operator. So you are applying a vote in that regard, that they're a good actor in the sphere, that they're maintaining their hardware, and they're not they are correctly issuing rewards, and they're not participating in bad practice. So this stake key then allows you to track this back to somebody's on-chain activity. So you can take this stake key, go into Cardano scan, blockchain explorer, for example, and search on that stake key. And if you're an investigative blockchain analyst, you can go and find exactly what I've been spending my money on recently. So you can see all the addresses associated with that stake key, which are all addresses because I've got a multi-address wallet that I'm using. You can go back and find my stake key history, so which pools I've delegated to in the past, how much rewards I've earned in the past. You can view the addresses and see what each of those has been, each of those addresses, which transactions that has been participating in. So I've got my transaction history here as well, and these are all sort of staking rewards, pretty much looks like. But yeah, there's a whole lot of analysis you can go into, which lets us maintain a crime-free blockchain. But when it comes to voting power, we want to obscure all this. We don't want to be able to attach this to an individual or to a particular wallet. So the Jormungandr chain has a different set of stake keys, which is associated with your voting power, but is detached from, can never be correlated. And so that kind of that layer between the two creates that safe voting environment. And so the technology, as it progresses, will maintain that distinction, that your vote power is separate from your actual on-chain, on mainnet activity. But that comes at a level of complexity that we're having to jump through some hoops at the moment. The user interface is getting better. Certainly next fund, I think it'll be even better again. But we're early adopters. We are forging the path for those that come after us, and we are breaking ground and suffering the cuts and bruises that come with that. So thank you for your service all. And in fact, while we're on this page, nice to see that we're up to 80 delegates with Fluid Pool, which is great, and 1.44 million ADA. The rotating delegation that the Extra Small Pool Alliance we are eligible for, that wound up for a few epochs ago, so last month. So those additional delegations we had for that 4 epoch period have left, and that had taken us over 2 million. So we're back down to our more base level, which is 1.4 million. Of course, 1 million of that is what I borrowed to make sure that the rewards are flowing into everybody in this pool. So we really need to get that 400,000 portion of it up to 1 million within the next 6 months, because that's when my 1 million ADA loan will be returned. So let's keep that in mind and start engaging all our loved ones in conversations about staking with Fluid Pool. But yeah, we're up to 48 blocks now. So we are minting pretty much every epoch. We've actually got 2 lined up for last epoch, 2 lined up for this one. So the rewards are flowing in. You should be seeing your balance slowly increase, and we're on track. We seem to have had a few battles on slots. I think we've had 4 now altogether, which is not great. But that is, a designed part of the parameters, and that should, because we've had so many in this part up to this point in our staking history, should mean we'll have less going forward, but because it all balances out in terms of verifiable randomness, but averages out over time to a mean. Yeah, at the moment, I think our luck figures, which is related to how much how many blocks you've expected to mint on average according to your stake, and how much you actually mint, is slightly under par, I think, at the moment. I haven't actually checked it recently, but it might have changed because we've just had a couple of strong epochs. Let me just quickly check on here. Actually, what are you doing? So this is all good skills to have to try using the blockchain explorers just to verify things that are you're thinking in mind. And the more you're capable with these tools, then the more robust the network will be long term as well, because we need to decentralize this knowledge and these abilities, get everybody involved. I don't know why that's not searching. The website's still loading. I think there must be the blockchain itself is about is approaching 180 gig, I think it is, something like that. So there's a lot of data stored in it now, and all that transaction history has to be verified when you start up a new node, and the the querying APIs, programming interfaces into the blockchain have to maintain all that data, veracity of correct data, and also the ability to query that rapidly relies on indexing of the data. And so that can sometimes pause or get hung up, and that's when you see slowdowns on these blockchain explorers. So we'll just drop off that for now and let it finish up. We can go back to it. But yes, so we've covered Yoroi, we've covered the Catalyst voting app, and a quick look at idea scale. So there are a couple of really good interfaces into the proposals themselves now. I won't include Cardano. I won't include idea scale in that because I think it's adequate, but lacking in a whole load of different ways. But it's probably the most comprehensive because this is the source of all the data that we see everywhere. So you can certainly look on here. You can try and learn how to navigate it. This top level is the challenge settings, and so within these challenge settings, which were decided on in the previous fund by a public vote, you can then go inside and look at the proposals within this challenge that should meet these challenges. So, for example, if we were to look at so this one's interesting actually, Catalyst system improvements. The brief of this is to take forward the development and build out of Project Catalyst itself, and the proposals within here, which again is something I can never get my head around. So I think we go to ideas. Yes, so this is where the proposals themselves actually sit within that challenge. And so all these then are publicly submitted proposals that meet that challenge setting. And most high profile within here are proposals by the current Catalyst team themselves. So they have up until this point been funded by Input Output IOG, and they are hoping to move their budget from, instead of coming from IOG themselves, which is a private company, they want their budget to come out of the Cardano Foundation treasury. And so they are doing that by submitting proposals themselves for what they plan to build out, applying for the funding for paying for that development to come from the Project Catalyst process, drawing from the Cardano Foundation treasury. So this is now every ADA holder who is paying transaction fees when they're using the chain, 20% of that gets carved off into the treasury. And now Project Catalyst has been being paid for by IOG themselves. Now we want to move the funding for that into the Cardano Foundation itself. So effectively, we start paying for it out of our activity on chain. This is a good thing because we don't want any of our structures that support the chain to actually be running in a private company. We want them to be run by us in a public voting scenario, being funded by our treasury, so that there's no, nobody coerces that treasury because it's in our hand, or it's going to be in our hands. This is all work in progress still, and is all part of the Voltaire era, which we're now in. So moving all the infrastructure that's supported the blockchain so far, instead of being in the hands of the private founding entities, IOG, Emergo, Cardano Foundation, we want to move it into a new governance structure, which is participated in by every one of us, and every one of us can then decide on the future of the chain, of who gets funded to build out what, etc., etc. So there could be a rival technology provider that comes alongside IOG and competes with them for building out some of this infrastructure, and exactly that is happening here with the first instance of it. So the Catalyst infrastructure team, who are doing all this really hard work, is now having to compete with the community for their funding, which they are. Now, I personally have no doubt that they're the best team to be building at the moment. So certainly this fund, they'll be getting my vote. That may not be the case for all the features that they're putting into their proposals. And down the road, I'd certainly see that work being given to community groups, teams, rather than to the Catalyst founding team, just because that's the way that innovation works. You want multiple heads, the latest and greatest, working on the things that they are most passionate about, the most capable of. And there's a whole load of knowledge that the team has currently that will be devolved out into the community over time. Certainly the latest hires in the Project Catalyst team have been really strong. There's a guy, Stephen, who heads up the architecture of the whole engineering behind this upgrade, who is excellent and is really community minded as well. So, you know, it's coming our way. The power of it is all coming our way, and the more you want to get involved, the better. So this whole challenge is around building out Cardano infrastructure as we go forward, and there are different teams. So we've got here the Catalyst founding team. We've got an African team, GOMA. So this is probably related to WADA. West African Decentralized Alliance, I've talked about in the past. Really strong team. This is Chakan from Littlefish. Littlefish is a ethically minded, climate aware group that building certainly strong community links and industry links within the Cardano community, doing really good work. We've got another Catalyst team proposal here. Andamio is the platform being built out by Gimbal Labs, which you've heard me talk about a lot. I've worked on Gimbal Labs tokenomics working group. I've also got a proposal into this project Fund 10 to build something out of the Andamio infrastructure. The Andamio platform is going to be a learning management system. And so they've put in a proposal into this challenge to build out an onboarding learning platform to get funded, so they can build that out, which is, again, anytime you see Andamio, Gimbal Labs, they have a consideration of voting for them, because they're a really good team, really well-placed team as well. Is another one of theirs. I saw earlier ADAO, which is one of the oldest DAOs on Cardano. Lots of teams, lots of things to look at, lots of things to read. This is George Lovegrove, who's got a proposal in for the treasury system, building out access and awareness of what's happening within that treasury, which is a really good thing to do. Bringing everything to the surface, making it transparent is great. And here we have a very strong governance group, QA DAO, and Kenrick from another team in the States. They are particularly good at oversight of the governance structures within Cardano and Catalyst, mostly within Catalyst actually, but also touching onto the wider Cardano network. So yeah, this just within one very small challenge within here, of which there are, can't remember how many this time around, but there's a lot of challenges, all of them with proposals within. So, you know, finding things that you know, just browsing around, finding things that interest you, bookmarking them, and then pointing them out to us back here in this group would be really useful over the next few weeks, because there's a whole load to absorb and learn and read about, and spotting good ideas when amongst all this is hard work. So it's not something I can manage myself. There's just too many. I know the people I will be seeking out to read their proposals, see if they get my vote. But also, you know, for all the good guys that I do know, there's another whole load of good guys that I don't know and don't know their projects, and it'll be very hard for them to surface their projects in front of me. So it does take a community to really build and make good decisions when it comes to this. And so I've got ideas built out in this SPO challenge that I'd like you to consider as well. And in fact, yes, that's one of mine. Impact SPOs, accountable and verified. Fluid 7 logo, Max, one of my developers, And there's a shortcut that I've created, so you can all go and check those out. Linktree.fluid7. So this will take you through to the IdeaScale platform to look at the proposals themselves. So there's one for the SBO Online Business Academy, so building out a learning platform for stake pool operators on how to turn their struggling stake pools into sustainable businesses. We've got impact SBOs, so making sure that mission-driven pools who are publicly saying that they're giving to charity or have particular missions are being held to account and being rewarded by delegators in return. And then a third proposal for building out a central source of community events. So that won't be won't have a front end, so it will rely on people building out a front end onto it, but it will gather all the event data together into one place, which is a very important thing to do. And so, but obviously it's an initiative that really belongs to the whole community. So we're building that under the kind of banner of Catalyst Swarm, which is a broad, disparate, hard to nail down group in Project Catalyst, which I'm heavily involved in as well. So these 3 projects are the ones I'm pushing for myself. I will grow this list and build out a bookmark list of all the projects I see, and I will probably be using the LiDonation tool, which is the other blockchain, the other Catalyst Explorer that really is great. So to get to it, you can now go to lidonation.com/catalyst, which I will drop into the Discord. And this is another way of browsing all the proposals in Project Catalyst, and actually I think a much more powerful way. So here you've got a whole load of filtering options. You can do it much more powerful filters on here than there are on IdeaScale. You've also got some really neat features being built out, like this one here. So these 3 buttons here are worth checking out. You can now order the proposals by community pre-vote effectively. So I think it's based off the kudos system. So in IdeaScale, every proposal you can go in and browse and then give them a little clap, which gives them kudos. And so you've got a limited amount of kudos that you can give, and so you kind of give them that sparingly on the proposals you're looking at. And I think that is being used, the tally there of those little claps are being used to drive the sort order for the proposals that appear on here. So again, up top we've got Andamio by Gimbal Labs again, their learning management system. That's for their core funding for the core development of that platform, which would be really good to see funded. The Catalyst teams up here as well. We've got the stablecoin that I talked about last month, a community fiat-backed stablecoin from Mehen. Really excited about that. And there's a whole load of proposals, and any new ways of ordering and sorting by the better. Another initiative which I might be to participate in this week is the project. I can't remember what they've called it, but it's like little short videos, a bit like TikTok format or YouTube short format. Really quick, snappy introductions to the projects. So if you want a video to watch for a minute, rather than having to read through a proposal because you're a visual learner or an audio learner, then you can jump in filtered just for the projects that are put in video proposals. So that could be well worth a browse. And again, Andamio have got on the case and have got their proposals in here already, working hard. DMU as well as a music protocol that's being built out on Cardano, which is excellent. Again, I've heard Session Cruise talk many times. Randall is the developer on here. He's a really solid developer, a good guy. I know him through the Gimbal Labs playground sessions, and he also has a really good DAO tool that he's built out himself. But yeah, this is a really nice platform. I would use this over IdeaScale for the bulk of my community proposal evaluation. And the really neat feature is that any of these proposals, you can click through, see the full detail on as pulled out of IdeaScale. You can also click through easily onto the IdeaScale platform if you think there may be something missing. And you've got the team badges here, so you can jump through and see all the proposals from the Andamio team really rapidly. In past funds and present, so you can see exactly how much money they've asked for over the time, and they've asked for $2 million worth through their proposals. They've had 7 proposed under this Andamio banner, and a lot of these are actual third-party groups using the Andamio platform to build on. That's why that figure is reasonably high. So here's Harry Hellier, who's in IAW as well as with Genius U, and I'm collaborating with him on the Andamio for Stake Pool Business, Stake Pool Academy. So yeah, good people popping up in and around here all the time. The other really useful feature of the tool is this bookmark feature. So you can see, you can create an account on here, sign in. I'm happy to give them my email address, and I know Darlington and the team are really good guys. I have been speaking to them regularly for the past 2 years. Trust them. So I'm happy to hand over some of my private data, like my email address, to them. You can also connect your wallet and interact just on your wallet, I believe. And that then allows you to use things like the bookmark feature. So as you're browsing through proposals, you can find one that you like. So this is now showing all funds back to when the data started to be made available. So we could filter that just to fund 10. And then I know they're only relevant for current voting setups. NewNet, I like these guys a lot, so I might go and have a look at that. If I believe that this proposal is actually worth my vote, or worth further reading, then I can bookmark it, which has moved. What did I do? Maybe I didn't log in. No, I didn't log in. So once you've logged in, then you have ability to store things in your bookmarks. Well, thank you. And that again gives you ability to gather pick lists together, which we can share with each other really nicely. So if I go back to proposals, let's find 10 proposals, NewNet one. If I now want to bookmark this for reading later, oh no, still not showing. Am I forgetting how to use this tool, or how the tool changed? I can't remember now. There should be a little.
So do you know how many actual proposals there are, Jonathan?
I think there's about 1,500. So good luck with reading all those. And so yeah, it's only going to be the ones that I can, find the time to study in the next a month or so, that I'll actually be able to vote on, with any kind of confidence. So the rest that do deserve my vote may go unnoticed, and so that's why we're looking at new mechanisms for helping improve this situation. One of which is called delegated representatives. So you can have somebody like me put themselves forward as a delegated representative. I would declare my specialist knowledge, special abilities, and how my voting is going to go. I'll pull together a list of proposals that I want to vote for, and anybody then can see me, who I'm planning to vote for, what sort of voting record I've had in the past even, and you can then choose to assign your voting power to me. So then I will go through and vote, and all our vote power will kind of be aggregated underneath one person making some decision making. And that way you can find somebody you trust who has got more capacity for absorbing all these proposals and actually making a considered decision on them, and assign your voting power to them rather than having to be responsible for all that research yourself. This is a kind of a controversial suck it and see approach to managing representation within this voting system, because if we get it right down at this level, then it's something we can build out further for the Cardano platform as a whole, and the governance and decision making of the blockchain itself can then start to mimic that with delegated representation. Because obviously there are experts in fields that I have no real say in or understanding or interest in, who are putting proposals here that will be really valuable. I don't know how the sewage system in my city works, but if it wasn't there, I'd soon kick up a stink. So the same sort of logic can be applied to anything that humans are involved in. We've got such a complex and rich infrastructure of society that it's impossible for anybody to know it all, be aware of it all, and actually make good decisions on all of it. So we need to decentralize that decision making to those in the know. Part of the way we could do that is by assigning your vote power to somebody, whether it's all of it or chunks of it. That sort of things to be decided on.
But just going down that route, though, doesn't what Cardano stands for, as in the independence and DeFi segment of it, doesn't that then potentially put in power the larger organizations or larger ISPOs that really aren't individuals to, if they say, hey, look, give me your grouping power, wouldn't they then perhaps coerce and basically put a spin on it to vote for the ideals that they want?
Exactly right, and that is the major concern from a lot of voices in the community. Now you've highlighted that on in regard to delegated representation within Catalyst, which is what we're talking about here, but actually I'm far more concerned at the vulnerabilities that exist already at the higher layer. So just as you mentioned, large corporate entities have a whole load of vote power because they have a whole load of ADA. So Binance with their, I think they've got up to 60, 70 stake pools, all of them fully saturated with 63 million ADA. So 70 times 63 million is a lot of ADA. And if they decided to vote in Project Catalyst or in some of the other governance structures that are being built out with all that voting power, which is what they can legitimately do, that's significant influence over the direction that the chain goes, and I'm very uncomfortable with that. So, but equally, I'm fully aware that of my failings as an individual already. I can't absorb 1,500 Catalyst proposals and make any kind of sensible decision on it. It would be more than a full-time job. But I do know some really good people that I've built out trust for who can make those decisions on portions of the ecosystem that I don't understand or don't get involved in. So I would really like to be able to say, okay, I'm going to give 10% of my vote power to Nori. I've got 10% of my vote power to James, and they can go and get the voting done on the proposals they're aware of, that I haven't absorbed, and I trust their decision-making power on. And so it is that the intention is to make it decentralized, bring it down, not to overload everybody so that nothing gets done, but to allow experts to rise up who can make just good decisions for larger groups of people. But we want to protect ourselves against a large corporate entity such as Binance, Coinbase coming in and using the ADA holdings that they have to massively coerce the vote. And the fact that our voting systems are all tied to the amount of ADA that we hold currently is the primary problem in my opinion. So when you've got a plutocracy, which is what we're operating now, in that the more ADA you hold, the more vote power you have, it just in and of itself leads to centralized power, because money pools, and if you've got someone like Binance who is providing a service to absolutely everybody, valuable to the ecosystem, but they are given the power over the ADA that they hold to actually participate in a vote like that with that same weight, then we start to diminish the voice of the individual so significantly that it becomes the same sort of political system as we've got in our nations, where you don't really have a choice. You have a choice between bad and badder. So we want to avoid that. One of the way that Catalyst is proposing to do that is by assigning delegated representatives and capping the amount of delegated vote power they can accrue. So this is now starting to move into solutions that require a bit of identity, because we need to be able to track the control of that voting power to a single individual. So we're having to then touch on decentralized identities, which are in very early stage yet. They're not actually fit for use in purposes like this, because it's very easy to declare I'm a human here, and then to have a whole new personality and declare yourself as another human in another part of the ecosystem and not be found out. Because if you're basing it on wallets are very easy to spin up. You can have multiple wallets very easily. And if you're doing things from a different IP address, you're never making any voice known behind that one, then you can completely detach your activity in a portion of your holdings over here with a portion over here. That can set yourself up as a delegate representative over there. So we really need something along the, and I hate to say this, but we need something along the lines of WorldCoin, which is, I don't know if you've heard, that's another big bit of news that's come out in the last couple of weeks. And probably it's hit mainstream news, so you may well have heard it. WorldCoin is a new cryptocurrency being launched by OpenAI. OpenAI, the guys who built ChatGPT, started out with open source methodology and have slowly been moving more and more private. They are now holding their technology behind closed doors because they think it's too powerful, too dangerous for the populace to have access to. And they have released a cryptocurrency that they'll be using to gather more money, basically, but also they've introduced a hardware device called an orb, which is a retina scanner. And so they now want to introduce proof of humanhood. So they want to uniquely identify every human on the planet by doing retina scans, and then associating that retina scan with a vote, effectively. So WorldCoin will become managed by anybody who's willing to have their retina scanned. Now, a whole load of red flags jump up in this for me, because first off, you've got a private company who hasn't got the best track record of heading in the right direction in terms of open source, and they're locking up technology rather than releasing it, because they think they know better, which is always a slippery slope. They are spoken about by lots of people as being incredibly powerful, very advanced, but not to be trusted yet. So Elon Musk was on the OpenAI founding team, and he left because he didn't like the direction it was going. He's got rival AI companies, so you may be comparing the pot with the kettle in that regard, but these are all just indicators that there's a whole lot of power and money being accrued in places, and to hand over the control of the global database of humanhood to these guys is it's not something I will participate in. And the way that they've done it as well is that you'll be given WorldCoin in return for scanning your retina. So effectively, it's a quick way to make and I think something it's decent amounts, like $70 or something, over this WorldCoin token you'll be given if you get your retina scanned, and that will effectively you're paying to have people's public data, private data, and being able to identify them, and all that will sit in the hands of a private entity. Now they've written like a constitution, and they're claiming they are an ethical, moral entity, and they may well have all those really good intentions, but the way it's gone about and the gathering up data is not safe to be handled in a single entity, especially a private one. So, this sort of endeavor I do see as necessary, but it's got to be granular. It's got to be localized. It's got to have compatibility on a global level to maintain that uniqueness, but actually the data managed not from a single entity at all. It's got to be done in a decentralized, distributed manner, because that information is too powerful. I mean, we need to have that data stored with the individual, and maybe there's a trust registry that can verify its validity and uniqueness, but that is a technical layer, not a privately owned organization. So yeah, WorldCoin exists now. They are onboarding millions of people all around the world. Yeah, $50. And yeah, this is just exchanging your private data for money. Which, I mean, it's straight out of George Orwell's 1984 or Huxley's Brave New World. This is just mass surveillance tool, first-class mass surveillance tool being built in front of us, regardless of the good intentions now.
But isn't that also the same when you travel to America? Through America?
Yeah.
No different.
All the borders are doing biometric scans. Our passports now have biometric data in, but at least that is localized. If you're, to a certain extent, if you're crossing a border going to another nation, then there's a legacy there of having to prove who you are as you cross the border, and the data hopefully is staying within the realms of the government of that country. This is now a global tech company that is gathering individual private thumb fingerprints of biometric unique identifiers of, they hope, every human on the planet in the hands of a private company. How does that make sense? Like, a single entity should never control all that information, all that data. So yeah, I'm very skeptical. I'm very concerned at the people throwing their personal data into the lot without thought for the potential consequences. It just shows to me that we have a whole load of learning to do before humans have the right or should have the ability to to make these sorts of decisions for themselves, because we're all irresponsible fools who sell our souls for $50.
You also find that when you actually pass away, if they've got your data, you don't actually leave this world. You're still accounted for by these types of entities.
Yeah, who's to say that the death record becomes less important in your WorldCoin retina? So if the WorldCoin retina scan never gets flagged as the owner of it being deceased, then you could continue trading as a human that's long since passed. A whole load of pitfalls ahead in this scenario. I don't think it's been thought through well enough yet. It's going too fast, similar to the development and release of AI.
I think I've sent you down a rabbit, Warren.
Yeah, so, but it's a very good rabbit hole to be considering, because there is danger here. So WorldCoin are gathering private data, and and yeah, in my opinion, shouldn't be. So be aware, talk about it, determine your own opinions, obviously, but yeah, share, talk, discuss. And so these sorts of issues that are being raised are very, very key to actually creating a decent governance system within Catalyst and then wider within Cardano. And that, I'd much rather have a slow, measured, community assessed approach rather than a private entity saying, oh, this is a good idea, let's build it and make it happen. So yeah. Any questions in amongst all that stuff?
No, I just want to say I share your concerns, actually, Jonathan, about WorldCoin as well. So yeah. One question I have got is there a deadline by which we need to vote for the proposals on Project Catalyst? How long have we got?
So the next deadline is the snapshot deadline, which is when your voting power is determined. That's on the 18th. Yeah. Then after that, I've actually got a roadmap of I'll put it here because I keep losing it. So there's a blog post on the website that shows the timeline. So yeah,
right.
We're in this community review phase at the moment. On the 18th, the snapshot will be taken, and then voting period will be between the end of August and the 14th of September. Excellent. So we'll have a 2-week voting window starting in September, sorry.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, I do try and post updates on here as well, so you can keep an eye on this if you want. The YouTube posts as I launch them, I'll list it on here as well if you want to keep track of them here too. And there's other little bits of news, like me and my team are getting certified as blockchain aware by the Cardano Foundation. So yeah, there we go. That's the full website, which is a little unloved, but he's got some stuff going on it, going for it still. And then of course, just you can of course go straight to the playlist on YouTube itself to see the previous videos. I did have a bit of a splurge, and there's a whole load gone up in the last week or so, a previous one. So we've now got June and July videos up there. This week's and next week's will probably go over that Catalyst voting registration again. And Jaya Urtan aren't here on the call today, but they wanted to have that in particular. So I'll try and make sure that the videos got in prompt fashion this week and next. So they may end up out of order with some other videos, but yeah, it's important to do. Good. Well, we've hit the hour, top of the hour. Any last minute questions? Anything you want to raise for this week or next? If not, I think we can call it a day there.
Just if we can look, maybe next week will give us an update where the A starter's at.
Okay. So did I touch on it last week? Were you here last week? So
Jonathan.
Sorry, say that again.
I said I'm always here.
Yeah, you are. What I touched on the I always forget what it's called. Ansens, that was it. So yeah, Ansens is the biggest bit of news in and around A starter. And again, it's not official, but so Ansens, who are the working project building out the fiat-backed stablecoin from Emergo, and then in parallel we've got A starter, who are the Emergo-backed decentralized exchange being built out. And I think these two are quite strongly correlated. So once we have USDA launched, then the DEX will really have a unique selling point over and above the other exchanges, because I think they'll gather a whole load of USDA liquidity rapidly because Emergo will be backing them. And so the release cycle for the stable coin, I think, correlates strongly to the release of the token generation event for AA. Now the Ansen's team have just announced that they've pushed their launch back again. It's effectively paused because of the regulatory climate in the US, effectively. So they are being very careful about how they launch. The other stable coins out there, USDT, USDC, that these huge fiat-backed stable coins are being scrutinized heavily, and will come under significant pressure from the SEC and so forth in the States. So Ansens wants to be very careful about how they launch, that they get it as correct as possible, because at the moment the regulators are working on a attack first and explain why later, which is not the way to run any kind of regulation system, but that's the US for you. So they have said that they're pausing for now, which gives us more uncertainty over the release of the AA token, which is a shame. But the AA starter team themselves are still active, still going about their build. They're still doing release cycle, beta tests, so on and so forth. And they're running Twitter Spaces every couple of weeks that you can go and listen in and hear the latest. Their development is progressing, particularly with the DEX. They've got it into second stage of private testing now, and it's looking solid and strong. So it's just going to be a matter of whether they end up deciding to launch without the USDA. May well happen, I suspect now, because they can't wait forever. But yeah, no token out yet, and no date for launch yet either. So yeah, still in the holding pattern here. Sorry, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
No problem. All right. I think that's everything. I probably will think of something that I wanted to touch on as soon as I get off the call, but yeah. I didn't actually look at any of the token activity. Maybe just finish on that quickly. So native tokens are still doing well. Got that connector prompt.
I got my Optum tokens as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, you did? You pick those up? Excellent.
Yeah, thank you, and stake them. So thanks for the advice.
Cracking. Right. So the Opt token is still holding its price really well. It did drop last few days, but it's picked back up again 10% yesterday, today. So it's holding above the 180 mark at the moment, which is phenomenal from a launch that was well below. Why is this not working? Let me. I guess I need to have my DAP connector on. I don't really need. So yeah, price at launch, or straight away it was, crazy high, but that's always a bit of a chart anomaly in my mind. And then the real price came in at 0.54, and we've already more than doubled from that point, and seem to be holding it for more than 50% of its entire life. So that's a really significant sign that we may not see it drop far below this point. So even buying at this stage might be a good thing. Putting a little bit of money into it just as a punt to see where it goes, because this is actually one of the things is that, so these guys, MusiSwap team, have announced their option flow platform, which is all about creating derivatives of crypto native tokens, Cardano native tokens, So having a secondary market that will increase stability to the native tokens. And on the same hand, or on the other hand, we've got Genius Yield, also another big team they're building out on Cardano, who have announced they're throwing their hat into the ring of the options market. So they've got a proposal in Fund 10 asking for proposal funds to help them finish the build out of their options platform. So we've actually got some competition already, which is really good, because competition means efficiency and a rapid pace of development. So both teams now will be going for that options side of the market that's non-existent at the moment in Cardano. So well worth maybe looking at the Muesli Swaps opt token or the Genius Yield offerings. See what they've got in and around their options platform that may appear in the coming weeks, months. But yes, if anybody is watching this and hasn't seen yet, if you held milk tokens from the Muesli Swap team, either the token itself in your wallet or participated in their liquidity pools or yield farms or their staking mechanisms, then you will be eligible for the option airdrop. So just by holding milk, you'll be able to get some opt tokens for free. And to see that, you go to opt.muesliswap.com, attach the wallet that hold the milk or held the liquidity pool tokens or is participating in yield farming, connect it to this website, and it'll tell you exactly how many tokens you can claim. And then you can go grab them and sell them if you want to, or hold on to them, see if the price grows from where it is now. In fact, what I've done is taken my option flow tokens and then put them back into its own liquidity pool on Muesli Swap. So I'm now earning off a free airdrop, which is only possible in crypto. So their farm for the opt token is currently returning, and this is an estimate figure. I always halve that in my mind, but it's currently returning an APR of 210%. And you're being paid out in yields tokens and opt tokens, so it's all within the Muesli Swap ecosystem. But you can swap those out legitimately for ADA and then off into fiat if you wish to. So that's a really, really high rate of return for tokens within Cardano, really. There's not many places that will offer this sort of APR. So worth a punt. Good. Well, I think we'll end there. Thank you for coming along. And I will be back on again next week. So yeah, I'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. That was a good session.
Pleasure. Hope you have good weeks, and yeah, hope you keep your fire going, Archie, that you got from Tony Robbins. Cracking. All right. I'll see you all soon.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.